Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and explore the fascinating, completely invisible world that actually powers our entire universe. Now, when you hear the words quantum mechanics, I know, it's incredibly easy to feel a bit intimidated. It sounds like something strictly reserved for elite scientists hanging out in lab coats, right? But today we're really going to break it down. We're going to strip away all that complicated jargon and look at what quantum computing actually is, why it's such an absolute game changer, and how it's poised to totally rewrite the way we solve humanity's biggest problems. So what is quantum mechanics? It's that big, intimidating question we hear all the time. Now sure, there is a very rigorous, highly technical answer to this, which the researchers at the Google Quantum AI team will be the very first to proudly tell you. They'll say it's simply the math that describes what fundamental particles do. But honestly, instead of just staring at dry math on a piece of paper, let's look at the fun reality of it. Let's see what that math actually represents in our tangible, everyday lives. Because the truth is, quantum mechanics is literally all around us. It represents the very foundation of nature itself. It is not just some abstract theory sitting on a chalkboard somewhere. It's the underlying code of reality. It's the cells in your body. It's the plants growing outside your window right now. It's the electrons spinning inside the exact device you're using to follow along with this explainer. You, yourself, are entirely made of quantum particles. And when you start to view quantum mechanics not as a distant theory, but as the fundamental operating system of nature, well, it completely shifts your perspective on what a computer could potentially do if it spoke that exact same natural language.
And that brilliantly illustrates this idea from the famous physicist Richard Feynman, the idea that actually sparked the entire quantum revolution. He basically said, to copy nature, computers must act like nature. I mean, think about that for a second. If the physical world operates using the rules of quantum mechanics, why on earth would we try to simulate it using standard, classical computers that don't operate by those same rules? Feynman realized that to truly understand and simulate our world with maximum accuracy, we literally have to build a machine that behaves the exact same way nature does. And that singular, awe-inspiring realization, that's the spark that kicked off the race to build a quantum computer.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the qubit globe analogy, and see how we actually navigate this quantum world.
To really understand how we mimic nature, we first have to define the most basic building block of these groundbreaking machines, the qubit. Without qubits, the whole shebang just doesn't work. You simply don't have a quantum processor. In a normal computer, like the smartphone in your pocket or your laptop, the basic unit of information is just called a bit. But in a quantum computer, we use a quantum bit, or qubit for short. It sounds like a tiny shift in terminology, but actually, scratch that. It represents a massive, earth-shattering shift in what a computer can do.
You really have to look at the stark contrast here between standard, rigid bits and these highly flexible quantum bits. A classical bit is very strictly either a 1 or a 0, no way around it. It's an absolute on or off switch. But a qubit can be in a position of 1, 0, and literally any position in between. It fundamentally shatters the strict binary rules that have governed all of traditional computing for decades now.
To really visualize this, just picture a globe in your mind. This is such a helpful way to picture it, especially for those of us who aren't, practicing quantum physicists. On this globe, classical bits are completely frozen at the poles. They can only ever exist at the absolute North Pole, which we'll call a 1, or the absolute South Pole, which we'll call a 0. But quantum bits? They have the total freedom to explore everywhere in between. They could be hanging out in California, spinning down in Australia, or just hovering somewhere over the Atlantic. And because of this freedom, a qubit has the incredible ability to access both the 0 and the 1 state at the exact same time. It's a continuous, fluid landscape of possibilities rather than just two rigid, boring options.
Now, the crucial point here is that we just don't experience this in our everyday lives. And that's exactly why things like probabilities and simultaneous states feel so hard to wrap our heads around. I mean, if I hand you a quarter and you flip it, it's either heads or tails, right? It's definitely not both at once, because our macro, everyday human experience isn't quantum mechanical. It basically breaks our brains to imagine a coin landing on heads and tails at the exact same time. But hey, just because it feels completely unintuitive to us humans doesn't make it any less real, and it for sure doesn't make it any less powerful. Moving right along to Section 2, Simulating Nature and Medicine. Let's look at the real-world impact this is going to have.
Now that we grasp the mechanics of what a qubit actually is, think about how medicine is created today. It involves massive physical trials, years and years of testing, and just an incredible amount of expense. But by running accurate quantum simulations of how drugs interact with your body, we can easily weed out the bad options and fast-track the good ones. Why? Well, because the interaction between a chemical drug and the cells in your human body is,
At its absolute core, a quantum mechanical interaction. If we have a computer that natively speaks the language of quantum mechanics, we can simply simulate these trials perfectly. We can immediately see which drugs show initial promise. That means skipping years of painful trial and error, saving immense resources, and ultimately potentially saving lives much, much faster.
All right, Section 3, our first quantum flight. Let's ground things and talk about where we actually are today.
You know, it's really easy to get lost in the science fiction of it all. But let's look at reality. Right now, researchers are spending every single day trying to make these theoretical ideas a practical reality. And it requires a lot of research and some very early but very cool demonstrations. Think of it exactly like the very first time an airplane flew. The Wright brothers pulled off this historic 12-second flight. Now, it didn't cross an ocean, and it definitely didn't carry hundreds of passengers, but it proved that controlled, powered flight was undeniably possible. Researchers at Google point out that our quantum computers right now are doing exactly that. It's an early, groundbreaking demonstration. We are literally witnessing the quantum equivalent of that very first 12-second flight.
And it's incredibly important to remember our history here. Back in the early days of classical computation, a high-ranking executive at a major computer company completely dismissed the new technology. He literally said, "They'll be in some room in some university that some mathematician is going to use to solve like esoteric problems." Just like those early computing pioneers vastly underestimated standard computers, we really shouldn't underestimate the massive potential of this early 12-second quantum flight. History proved that executives spectacularly wrong about classical computers, and honestly, anyone doubting quantum computing today is likely making the exact same mistake.
So where does this leave our path forward? Well, researchers are being clear. Quantum computers are not going to be an everyday computing resource anytime soon. You're not going to have a quantum processor in your smartwatch next year. However, while these won't be everyday consumer resources immediately, successfully solving specific, highly complex problems efficiently with them will fundamentally change how human beings operate. The big push right now is all about finding those useful avenues and algorithms, because we are really just standing at the starting line when it comes to uncovering its true potential.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely thrilling thought. We've gone all the way from Feynman's dream of mimicking nature to building actual physical qubits that act like coordinates anywhere on a globe. We are taking our very first 12-second flights into the quantum realm. So as we just start to figure out this technology's incredible potential to speak the hidden language of the universe, we have to pause and ask ourselves, what fundamentally world-changing applications are waiting just over the horizon?